On behalf of Mercy Volunteer Corps, I'd like to welcome you to our first ever Mercy Volunteer Corps recruitment webinar. This is an opportunity to learn more about becoming a Mercy Volunteer and what life is like as a Mercy Volunteer. You may have already seen us at a recruitment event at your school or in your area, or you may know a current or former Mercy Volunteer, or perhaps a Sister of Mercy suggested that you check us out. No matter who or what brought you here, we're excited to walk with you on your journey towards long-term service. And no matter what level of interest or how far along you are in the application process, we hope this webinar is informative and helpful in discerning your next steps. Some business first. If you're watching us on Google+, there should be a column to the right side that has a place to ask questions. Feel free to submit any questions and I'll try and answer them as we go. I'll do my best to answer them, but if there are any at the end, I'll try and answer them at the end as well. If you're not watching us on Google+, if you're on the YouTube channel or some other way, you can email me any questions and I'll do my best to kind of check throughout and answer them. My email is chrisdavidson@mercyvolunteers.org. And we ask that you keep your questions to a more general nature about the program or the application process. Any specific questions should be sent to me and we can kind of talk about it offline, or sent to your coordinator that you've already been connecting with. So brief overview of what we're going to get into today. I'll start with an introduction to the mission of Mercy Volunteer Corps. We'll talk about the core values of Mercy Volunteers. We'll get into the service sites, where volunteers serve, what kind of placements there are, where they are. We'll talk about benefits of volunteer, and then we'll get into the application process, deadlines and timelines and things like that. So without further ado, introductions. Again, my name is Chris Davidson. I'm a community coordinator for the Mid-Atlantic region. That includes, that's from New York down to Virginia and most of Pennsylvania. I also oversee recruitment, so campus visits, things like that. This webinar, I coordinate all that kind of stuff. Depending on where you are, where you're joining us from, you may have interacted with some of our other staff. Marie Schultz-Stebel she oversees our South Central region, which is a big chunk of the country from Baltimore, DC, down to Florida, over to Texas, and then up to Kansas, over to Ohio. So if you're from that area, you're going to school in that area, you've probably heard from Marie. If you're in the West or the Midwest, you've heard from Angie Carlton. She's our coordinator for West Midwest, which is Michigan, down to New Mexico, to California, up to Washington. So again, another huge chunk of the country. Susie James is our coordinator for what's called the NIPAW region. So that's upstate New York and Pittsburgh, so Western Pennsylvania. And if you're joining us from the New England area, from the Northeast, you've probably heard from Carrie Young. So Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, all those New England states. Carrie is also our international placement coordinator. So if you're interested or have expressed interest in the international placement in Guyana, you've probably heard from Carrie. In addition, we have other staff. Marion Yuba is our executive director. John Farley is our director of development. Mary DeMarco is our office manager, and Elizabeth McNeil is our communications specialist. So that's who we are. So now into the what we are. So our mission at Mercy Volunteer Corps is in partnership with the Sisters of Mercy of the Americas, lay women and men of Mercy Volunteer Corps enter into relationship with people who are economically poor and marginalized. In a spirit of mutuality, volunteers cultivate mercy and justice in the world by embracing compassionate service, social justice, spirituality, and a simple lifestyle in community. So that's our mission statement. If you've been to our website, you've seen it. It's what we're all about. Connecting, partnering with the Sisters of Mercy, which is a very active community of women in the United States and beyond, and really serving the poor, the marginalized, those most in need. So Mercy Volunteer Corps, we promote social change by placing volunteers for 1 year at a time at service sites all over the country and in Guyana in South America as well. We work in education and healthcare and social services, and all our volunteers are called to live in community together and to grow in spirituality as well. The organization has been around for more than 35 years. We've had almost 1,000 volunteers with us. This year we commissioned 42 volunteers in over 10 cities around the country, and again in Guyana as well. All of our volunteers commit to some core values. The first being compassionate service. Mercy Volunteer Corps and the service sites call volunteers to service characterized by mutuality, respect, and dignity. And compassion as well. Rather than giving to and doing for, we really empower volunteers to walk with those that they're serving. We're not here to fix anyone, we're here to help, we're here to walk with, really, again, that compassionate service, both giving and receiving and advocating with rather than doing for those most in need. Another value is a simple lifestyle in community. So kind of a 2-for-1 there. So the simple community lifestyle of a Mercy Volunteer Corps allows volunteers to focus on people rather than possessions, and to be more aware of the daily realities of those that they're serving, the poor and marginalized that the people are serving. So living simply on a small stipend is really important to getting away from the material world, getting away from some of those things that we take for granted as well. And then living in community, so living with other volunteers is really important as well. So volunteers live generally with 2 or 3 other volunteers. We have communities as low as 2 and as high as 6, but generally it's 3 or 4 other volunteers serving in similar organizations, similar communities as you would be. So that community lifestyle, supporting one another, growing with one another, is really a core value of Mercy Volunteer Corps as well. And the final value is spiritual growth. Volunteers have the opportunity to commit to personal reflection on the presence and movement of God in their daily life. And also into sharing this again with their community. So sharing their own spirituality, their own faith journey with those around them in community. This manifests itself in many ways. In particular, volunteers commit to 1 night a week as a spirituality night. This is a way to join with your community and reflect on spirituality in some way. So volunteers take turns leading that, leading a reflection. Maybe they do a reading, maybe they watch a short video, those kinds of things. And that commitment to spiritual growth together is definitely a core value of Mercy Volunteer Corps. In addition to those values, we connect to the Sisters of Mercy whenever we can. And again, that's a very large order of sisters who are active in ministry all over the country in many different ways, social justice. They're really advocates for the poor and marginalized, which is who Mercy Volunteer Corps is serving as well. Moving on to service sites, we have more than 30 sites in 10 different cities in the U.S. And in Guyana as well, we have 3 service sites there. These placements include education, healthcare, social services, and serve a variety of populations, homeless populations, addicted individuals, adults and children with developmental disabilities, immigrants, children, and again, those who are marginalized all around the country. So some of the sites are looking for some very specific skill sets. We're looking for nurses, we're looking for OT, PT, teachers, social workers, things like that. Other sites are a little more flexible in terms of people's backgrounds. They're not as worried about having a specific degree or specific skill set. They're more interested in your attitude and your personality and your ability to work with the poor and marginalized, and really that passion for service, that passion to serve with others. For more about specific sites and specific position descriptions, I would head to our website, mercyvolunteers.org. Under the service sites tab there, there's a list by city of all the sites and all the positions there. There's a short blurb about the organization, a short position description about the things you would be doing if you volunteer there, and there's a link to that service organization's webpage as well, so you can learn more about that. So again, head to our website if you want more details about specific sites, specific positions. Those are updated kind of along the way as new sites become available or as positions change, things like that. But we don't really foresee any huge additions or changes, so they're pretty good. But make sure you check back if you're looking for something specific that's not there. Kind of keep checking back. Moving on to the benefits of being a Mercy volunteer. As a volunteer, you receive housing. It looks different in different cities. Some communities live in a convent, others live in a house or an apartment. It really depends on the city, depends on the situation, how they're set up. Again, the communities are generally between 2 and 6, but generally around 3 or 4 people. They'll probably be serving in different organizations, different placement as you, but again, that community living, that variety of perspective, of personality is really important to the program, to a year of service. In addition, you'll receive medical insurance. This could look a number of ways. You can elect to stay on your parents' plan. Now that you can stay on it up to 26. That's an option, and then the service sites will reimburse for that portion of the medical insurance. The service site may put you on their insurance, so whatever their employees have, they will add you to that. Or there's a third option that is the sites can buy into a plan that MVC is a part of as well. So medical insurance is covered, transportation is covered. Again, this looks different in different communities. Some communities have a car